Okay, picture this. It's late at night, a teenager is in her room, and the only light is that soft glow from her phone. She's just scrolling. You know the vibe. We've all been there, right? But this isn't just mindless downtime. In just a few seconds, this very familiar scene is about to take a turn. And then, bam, there it is. That one single moment that just hits you in the gut. We're going to call our case study Lily. And she just saw an ad for a weight loss tea pushed by some celebrity. One minute she's laughing at a video, and the next, she's hit with this wave of self-doubt, looking at this so-called perfect body. So how does that happen? How does a simple, casual scroll through a phone turn into a source of real anxiety and insecurity? That's the big question we're going to unpack here. And let me tell you, the journey from that glowing screen to that frown, it's a lot shorter and way more intentional than you might think. To really get what happened to Lily, we got to zoom out a bit. We need to look at the world she's swimming in every single day. And as we're about to see in this first section, this digital world, well, it's not random. It's carefully built, and it plays by some very, very persuasive rules. I mean, her feed is just this endless waterfall of perfection, right? Flawless skin, toned bodies, crazy vacations, glass skin, guaranteed results. But here's the really sneaky part. The line between what's real, like a friend's photo, and what's a paid ad is, well, it's basically gone. It's invisible. So she's not just scrolling, she's being fed this constant, powerful message. This is what your life is supposed to look like. So when your brain is just flooded with all these perfect images, what actually happens? I mean, what's going on in there? Well, it kicks off this really powerful psychological chain reaction. And that brings us right to our next big idea, the comparison trap. You know, we're all hardwired to do this, to compare ourselves to others. It's this ancient survival thing, right? Helped our ancestors figure out where they fit in. But here's the thing. Modern advertising has learned how to take that instinct and just weaponize it. It works by making you feel like you're lacking something, creating a problem, and then, wouldn't you know it, offering their product as the perfect solution. It's a classic setup. And this isn't just some abstract theory. The effect is real, and it is fast. Just look at this data from a Dove study. A whopping 80% of teenage girls said they felt worse about how they looked after just 10 minutes of scrolling. 10 minutes! That's nothing. That's a commercial break. And if that doesn't hit home, check this out. This quote isn't from some critic. This came from inside Meta itself, their own research. They knew their platform was making body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teenage girls. So let's be clear, this comparison trap isn't some unfortunate side effect. It's a feature, not a bug. But this constant comparing, it does more than just make you feel bad in the moment. It starts to build up into something way bigger. It's not just about how you feel about your body anymore. It starts to actually change the very definition of your self-worth. Yeah, all this exposure to these perfectly marketed lifestyles, it creates what experts call a materialistic mindset. Suddenly, success isn't about, who you are as a person or what you can do. Nope, it's about what you have. Your self-esteem gets tangled up in whether you can afford the right stuff, the right look. And if you can't, well, you feel like you just don't measure up. And that kicks off this really nasty cycle, right? You feel bad, you buy something, you get a little rush, but then it wears off, and you feel even worse. You start looking for the next thing. And the research is crystal clear on this. It's linked to higher rates of depression and anxiety. They even have a name for it now, influencer culture anxiety. It's this crazy pressure to perform your life online all the time. Okay, so we get the psychology, but what about the tactics? How exactly do these ads turn that feeling of I'm not good enough into a click to buy moment? Well, they use some very specific tricks designed to just switch off your rational brain and hit you right in the emotions. Deep down, it all comes down to one of our most primal emotions, fear. Not, scary movie fear. It's a much more modern and much more subtle kind of fear. The fear of missing out. FOMO. And this is how they press that button. Limited time, low stock, flash sale. These aren't just words, they're psychological triggers. When Lily saw that countdown timer on the flash sale, that wasn't just info. That was a shot of pure adrenaline, engineered to create panic and push her to make a decision right now, without thinking. And does it work? You bet it does. Look at this number, 75%. 3 out of every 4 teens have made an impulse buy because an influencer recommended it. These tactics are just brutally effective, especially when you're targeting a teenage brain that's still learning how to handle impulse control. Okay, I know this all sounds pretty heavy, maybe even a little hopeless, but the story absolutely does not end here. Because once you understand the game, you can start to build a defense. And that's what this next part is all about, building digital resilience. So let's circle back to Lily. How did she get out of that spiral? Well, it started with a few simple but super powerful steps. First, she just took a break, a social media detox, deleted the apps. Then she started pouring that time back into things that actually made her feel good, real hobbies. And finally, and this is key, she learned to look at all this media with a critical eye. And this became her superpower. Before buying anything, she'd stop and ask herself this. It's so simple, but it's a total game changer. It creates that tiny pause you need to break the ad's emotional spell and let your thinking brain catch up. It helps her figure out what she actually wanted versus what someone else was trying to sell her. And really, that's the whole point. We can't just unplug from the world. Advertising is everywhere. The real goal isn't to escape it. It's to build up the mental armor you need to navigate it safely. It's about giving ourselves, and especially teens, the tools, the awareness, the critical thinking, to move through this digital world without getting lost.
Which kind of leaves us with one last really big question to chew on, doesn't it? In a world that is screaming at us 24/7 that the solution to all our problems is in a shopping cart, how do we teach the next generation to find value in the things that don't have a price tag? That's a conversation worth having.